Hey everyone, how's it going? So last month I set up a poll on what would be the first comic I would review for 2024, each one sharing a theme of the last review. Surprisingly, no one voted for Quick Stop. Won't lie, I'm a little bummed out about that, but they're all good picks, especially the winner, which, if you saw my update, is based on a TV series that was made long ago in a distant studio, where he, Gendy Tartakovsky, animator master of cartoons, unleashed an insanely genius animated series about a foolish samurai warrior wielding a magic sword who stepped forth to God damn it, I really should not be doing this while I have the flu. Anyway, yeah, I'm going to be talking about Samurai Jack. Published in 2013, IDW will create an ongoing series that would continue the stories after the events of the animated series. Now, whether or not it's still canon, given that we would eventually get a final season in 2017, well, that's debatable. As for those who are unfamiliar with Samurai Jack, the series followed the adventures of a wandering samurai who was tasked to destroy the shape-shifting entity Aku with the magical katana forged by the chief gods Odin, Ra, and Vishnu. Yeah, this evil was so great that it took the combined power of 3 pantheons to create this one weapon to destroy it. Definitely gives a good idea of how strong Aku truly is. The sword is really effective against Aku, and Jack comes close to defeating him, but Aku is able to push Jack into a portal in time and flung him to the future, where he rules as its master. Hell, not even just the Earth, a good chunk of the galaxy is his domain. Jack is now on a quest to return to the past and undo Aku's future, but will face challenges on the way, like armies of robots, demons, zombies, bounty hunters, and Aku himself. A lot of you are probably wondering why I said it instead of just playing the opening clip, as up until season 5, every episode opened with the explanation. Well, unlike Steamboat Willie, Samurai Jack isn't in the public domain, and the opening is more than 6 or 7 seconds, or whatever how long they will allow you to play it, so yeah, I gotta just play it safe. Anyway, the show was a hit, with each episode showing Jack dive into different environments and mythologies, trying to return to his time. You'd think it would eventually get very formulaic and stale, but nope. Gendy and the other writers were able to find new ways for Jack to find possible ways home, what obstacles he need to face, and what could stop him from returning to the past. How did the comic fare? Was it able to match the show in quality of storytelling, or does it deserve to learn to respect Aku in the pit of hate? Well, let's dive into Samurai Jack, The Thread of Time, and find out. Warning, spoilers. Now, similar to our last comic review based on an animated show, it's split into 5 parts, where a lot of stories could stand alone, but there is a running arc going on, with the first story actually opening with a recap very similar to the show. What the hell? By a Scotsman's gun leg, what's wrong with your face? Okay, I took a break for a few weeks to get over the flu. Let's just move on. After that, we find Jack in the middle of the desert in search for an oracle by the name of Sol the Seer, believing that he knows a way to return to the past. Sol expected this, and after Jack's recent victory regarding the deadly scorpion monsters that were raising hell in the desert, he tells Jack of one object that could get him where he needs to go, the Rope of Eons, which the gods used to help forge the flow of time. But when Aku first came to power, he stole the rope, obtaining its knowledge and power of time for himself and later destroying it so no one else can. Though destroyed, it could, however, be reforged after all the pieces are brought together, and to restore its power, meaning Jack could get a chance to return to the past. Sol tells Jack that the first piece is located in a pit farther out in the desert. As Jack enters, he learns the pit is home to a spider creature who runs a literal underground fighting ring. Jack sees a spider has a piece of it in his web and faces off against his warriors, and though honestly it was an easy win for Jack, the following would be a bit harder, as Jack would soon learn that his next set of obstacles are very aware of the thread's power, like the twins Dis and Dat, who use their piece to fight in perfect sync, or the village of Grantus, a Greek-based city, who seems to live in peace with their protector Gore the Great, who seems to be friendly, but acts cold when asked about the thread, or the beautiful Queen Crystal the Ageless, who, okay, you know what she uses the thread for. And of course, the Shogun of Sorrows himself, Aku, which I won't spoil what he uses the thread for, but if you've seen the series, you'll know it's on brand with him. As for how Jack gets these pieces and overcomes the obstacles, well, you'll have to read to find out. This is a pretty fun, straightforward book. The book was not written by Gendy, but instead by Jim Zub, who we already covered before last year in another comic based on the TV show Rick and Morty vs. D&D, and like Rick and Morty vs. D&D, he made sure to make this feel like an actual part of the series. From the story of the thread, to the side missions, Jack takes along the way, to the different locations and people he encounters on the journey. The stories are also well paced, with none of them really feeling like they're dragging on or going by too fast, especially when we get to the character moments. And of course, talking about characters, we gotta start with Jack himself. If all you know about the character is just some of the action scenes people have highlighted, like the first battle with the Aku beetle bots, or his intense fight in the final season, you'd be shocked to see that Jack is honestly a kind soul. He's very quick to help people and focuses on making sure the people around him feel both safe but also hopeful in this dark time. However, he is a bit gullible and can easily fall into traps, but anyone that traps Jack always is reminded why he's the most wanted man in the world. Seriously, the guy can be as nice as Superman to as scary as Batman. Honestly, the only time I think Zub went out of character with Jack was probably around chapter 4, as he makes a joke in the end, but honestly that's only one nitpick, no need to really complain. Point is, he's Jack, no doubt about that. Next, we got Jack's greatest obstacle, the Master of Masters, Aku. Despite only appearing in the flashback and then the final issue to get the last piece, Zub is able to have us feel his presence as Jack sees the world he's created and the lives he's ruined. Even when Jack is just talking about him, you know that Aku is most likely watching. When he does show up, like in the show, it's just a fun read. He's a mad monster who, though can act serious, will often act like a crazy goofball at the same time, which makes sense since he is the embodiment of evil and chaos. He rules everything. He's tangled with gods and demons, with his only real thing to fear being Jack, though he will never let that fear get in his way, especially since everything that he sees is his kingdom. As for side characters like Gore and Queen Crystal, they're great characters, but not much to say with both the limited time we have of them and the potential spoilers regarding what their stories are. Well, okay, kinda with Queen Crystal, because again, it's a bit too obvious. However, they are solid characters and bounce off Jack pretty well. The art was done by Andy Serino, who wasn't unfamiliar with Samurai Jack as he was one of the visual artists of the series, along with other animated shows from the 90s and early 2000s, so he knows how to draw Jack and keep it in Gendy style. My only complaint is how he draws Aku. He just looks so off compared to Jack and the other characters. I don't know, maybe he was going for something with the style, or maybe he was just rusty drawing him, but either way, he felt off, and it was a bit distracting. Samurai Jack and the Thread of Time is a nice throwback to the classic cartoon. Yeah, it's not as thought-provoking as some episodes were, but it doesn't have to be. It feels like Jack, which means it's gonna be fun, and I definitely think it's worth a read. Check it out for yourself and find out. Thanks for watching. Like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for updates. Next time, we continue the themes of another animated show continuation as we return to the DCAU with a series that followed Batman: The Adventure Continues, where we check out the big leagues. Later.